let's jump into this chat. So, Billboard and Vibe put out a top 50 rappers list, and it has caused a lot of anger, commotion and anger. I've been getting messages nonstop. People like, yo, Armon, what's good with this list, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I really don't. We are a group of people who come together. We vote. Like, it's a very democratic process. We don't expect y'all to be happy with it. Y'all always got shit to say. You want your little underground favorite rapper or this person or that person to be on the list. Cool, I get it. Right? You can make your own list. I don't give a fuck. But these discussions happen very often. I was, shout out to Injera Perkins from Pop Sugar. She called me this week and had me contribute some thoughts to her article, and she also shouted out Stay Busy, so thank you for that. And she was wondering, like, why are we so insistent on having these greatest rapper of all time discussions? And the regionalism that plays into it, and the lack of women that are included on these lists. So, like, for you, like, what do you think is the reason like people care so much about these lists that other people make ranking rappers?
I don't know. Like a part of me feels like is it to decide who is selling the most, who has the most like public pull? Like I'm not really sure because there are people who I think like should be included in the list, and they're not necessarily like underground rappers, but they're like really talented rappers. They just aren't mainstream. So like also a part of the list to me is like who's mainstream and who's popular. Yeah. I don't necessarily know if it's truly down to skill, but then it's also like tricky to me because rap is so, or hip hop is very diverse. There's so many different like lanes for people to like function in. So it's like, how do you put someone like a Kendrick Lamar on the same list as someone like, I was about to get myself in trouble. Like a Blueface. Like, how do you put these two people?
Blueface not even top 200.
No, so. But it's like, you can't put like...
We don't got to worry about that comparison.
It's like, you can't put these artists of like different kind of genres of rap. You can't really put them together on one list and kind of quantify like how much talent they have. Like, I don't necessarily understand.
Yeah, that's what I told Injera. It's like, there's no closure in music. The only thing we can quantify is like how much your album sells, how many awards you've won, but even like the award selection process is subjective. Like just because you got the Grammy doesn't necessarily automatically mean you had the best album. We've seen a lot of things get the Grammy when there have been better picks to people. Numbers, you know, people can inflate their numbers, streaming farms, all that shit. So like people question numbers. So there's really nothing, there's no like cold hard criteria that can provide closure within this. Like everything else subjective. Like, yeah, I could say this person, rapper A raps better than rapper B, but how do you prove that? There's no equation for that. Like,
you can't prove it.
It's just how I feel.
It's so subjective. And I think people, like the hip hop police, go very hard over. I remember somebody tweeted, like, who had the best kind of debut album. And I think it was, like, of all time or through history or in general, who had, like, really solid, like, debut projects. And I said Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy. And people, like, attacked me on Twitter because I said Cardi B. Because I was like, that was a solid debut album.
It was a really good debut album.
I didn't say it was like the best album in the history of albums made, but I was like, for what people expected of her and then what she put out, it was a very, very solid debut album.
It was. I still run that up. Good, great intro, Get Up 10, like strong singles. She showed range. Like,
she did
from early. So no, I completely agree. Like it's honestly for me very exhausting because on the journalist side, these things get engagement. They get traffic. So we make these lists intentionally to garner that. As like a fan, I don't give a fuck. Like if I think someone is the greatest, you think someone else is the greatest, cool, bro.
That's
like I'm really not here to argue.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight
that.
Nobody.
And this is why like generally like just with music in general, like I don't even like sharing my opinion on Twitter no more because people think everything is up for debate. Yeah. Like bro, stay out my mentions. Please stay the fuck out my mentions. I do not care. If you don't like something that I like, cool. I do not care. Leave me alone. But with these things, it's like people treat everything in extremes. Everything has to be a superlative. If someone likes an album, they don't just say, "Oh, this was hard." It's a classic. Yeah. And that generates argument. It's like, no, that shit was trash. Blah blah blah. All that. So it's just a very exhaustive thing. And also regionalism plays a big part into it too. Like New York is the mecca of hip hop, the birthplace of hip hop. And so, like, people who grew up on that real hip-hop try to, like, disenfranchised rappers from Atlanta who are great. Like Thug and Future is better than a lot of y'all faves, a lot of y'all goats. I'm sorry, you might not like hearing it, but Thug and Future is better than a lot of y'all, the niggas that y'all hail. But you can't say that on a list. You can't put that on a list, niggas. Oh, it's a disgrace to hip hop, mumble rap, all that bullshit. Blah, blah. Fuck out of here, bro. Like, so I think regionalism plays a huge part in it. But yeah, it's just honestly just very annoying. But at someone Mouse Jones said in the article, he was like, people love to watch like car crashes. Like you know how you're driving on the highway, you see a car crash, people stop and look at it. Like it's similar with these lists. Like people like to see someone get packed up in their quotes when they put out a hot take or something. Yeah. So that's why these will always happen, because like they do what they're intended to do. They start conversation. They get mad. Rappers, Ice Cube was like, "Fuck that Billboard vibe list." Yeah. Bow Wow said something. Like a bunch of niggas who,
which it's like it doesn't discredit like your contribution to music. At all.
It's a subjective list that really don't mean it. Don't mean
it doesn't
nothing.
Do anything. Like, it doesn't. I mean, I guess if you're like really into what public opinion is, which. I mean, I guess in the entertainment industry, you kind of have to be, but like, it's not, do you get less checks because you're not on that list?
Right.
Like, are you not getting booked because you're not on that list?
Exactly.
It's just an opinion.
Yeah. So, very annoying process, but they'll always happen because they get people talking. Like, they will always be a thing, and I guess that's just a necessary evil that we have to accept.
Yeah, they're fun, though.
They are.
They're very fun.
They are.
I love to see people upset on the internet over rap.
People being so, like, emotionally invested in shit.
People be crying and sliding down walls over these lists.
Like, it's a crime if someone has a different opinion than you.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
Crazy. Like
Absolutely.
Niggas will dead offer you hands over social media if you don't have Jay-Z in a certain spot. Like, bro, it is not. Please go touch some grass. Go
hug a tree.
Taste that air. It tastes good.